Oh boy, this video intro is going to get me in trouble. Why did we redeem it? Because of course now we have everything set in play for what looks like an armed invasion of Iran here, as members of Congress and specific military movements highlight that the invasion is set, readied, and prepared to happen at any moment now. All of this as we're being told there's negotiations that some people are saying do not exist and are faked and, quote, debunked. Now, we're hearing a lot of different kind of scuttlebutt about the Iranians wanting to end this war, not wanting to end this war, saying no, as people are having some serious doubts and questions about some of the statements that Donald Trump is making, as people are saying, well, he's just saying that to postpone in order to bring on this invasion and to calm down the markets before it actually happens. As some people are saying, it could happen as early as this Friday. A good day, not to, quote, startle the markets there, but is this more than just market manipulation? Is there a deal? Is there not a deal? Well, again, all the signals do highlight major maneuvers and moves being made right now, specifically to prepare for an invasion, which I think is dumb and stupid. We'll get into that and a lot more, especially with all the latest developments with this Iran conflict in this particular video. If you appreciate that, subscribe. Click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us. Now, Congresswoman Nancy Mace has been coming out, and her tweet here is concerning, right? Because it kind of hints and suggests that the invasion is going to happen. She says, just walked out of a House Armed Service briefing on Iran. Let me repeat, I will not support troops on the ground in Iran. Even more so after this briefing. What happened during this briefing? As CNN correctly puts it, hey, all the pieces are in the region for a ground invasion.
Well, Audie, whatever the president ultimately decides about a ground operation in Iran, all the pieces are now in the region to carry one out. And it's not just the...
Now, is this a negotiation tactic? I hope so. Or is this something that has already been pre-planned? As, of course, there's Iranian spokespeople coming out being like, I don't believe this kind of talk about peace talks that Trump is talking about. They're seeing this as what previously happened to them before the 12-day war, this kind of lowering of them into defenseless posture. As, of course, there was a disinformation campaign run by Trump and Bibi before the 12-day war. Negotiations were still happening. According to the British, the negotiations were moving along pretty well, and there was a good deal at play here, and then the United States just started to bomb them. If you're the Iranians and you're going through all of these like negotiations, which have been used as a way to lull you into being more, into lowering your defenses, you're going to be skeptical here.
1,000 paratroopers, you have Marines deployed to the region, and then all the forces, the air transport, etc., that one would require to put troops on the ground, whether that be, you've heard the discussion of Karg Island, which is so central to Iran's energy industry, or perhaps along the shores of the Strait of Hormuz to secure the Strait of Hormuz. We don't know, and ultimately it's up to the president. But
now this would be a disaster. This would be an outright disaster, as now there's talks about sending J.D. Vance to Pakistan. Pakistan has been playing a key role here with a lot of these negotiations, as it might be J.D. Vance that could be sent on a plane, and as soon as he's in Pakistan, that's when we know some of these talks are more legitimate here, as Iran has allegedly said that it will not negotiate with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner let Bibi sleep in his bedroom when he was a teenager, quote, deeming them, as the UK did, as foreign agents serving Bibi, instead demanding to negotiate with J.D. Vance. The VP, who was positioned himself as against the Iran war, but supportive of the president, now has the chance to negotiate an end of the Iran conflict. If that happens, people are like, well, this is convenient, as people are skeptical of this themselves. The move would, quote, undoubtedly be good PR for Vance, who has been the subject of attacks from across the GOP, painting him as both too hawkish and too dovish. Through the negotiations, Vance gets a chance to cement himself as the pro-peace successor to Trump, standing apart from the hawkish Rubio and Hegseth. Trump came out and was like, Hegseth and Raising Cane don't want this conflict to be over. Now, according to Axios, Iranian officials have told mediators, Pakistan, Egypt, and Turkey, that the U.S. military movements and Trump's decision to deploy major troop reinforcements have increased their suspicion that his peace proposal is just a ruse. And of course, it has happened before to them. And they, of course, are dealing with a situation where it's like, who do you trust? Who do you believe here? Now, the New York Times today is also reporting that Iran dismissed Trump's ceasefire offer, but they signaled that they're open to talks. As, again, I think a lot of people are saying, let's not consider what Trump is saying. Let's consider what Trump is doing. And Trump is sending in the troops. That's a big signal, right? The New York Times, right? The Pentagon is sending more troops to the region, even as President Trump seemed to endorse Pakistan's offer to broker negotiations. As Tehran has confirmed, it received the offer, but calls it maximalist. As the Iranians rejected the peace plan that they also called excessive, and they issued 5 conditions to end this particular conflict. Now, Breaking Point and Saigar and Jetty have some very interesting insights into all of this. Before getting into that, and a lot more, specifically when it comes to this alleged peace deal and talks that Trump is very verbally bullish on, just really quickly, we wanted to tell you about LukeUnfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up, what are you doing? It's cheap, it's simple, it's quick, it's easy. 20 cents a day, $8 a month, and you get to support independent media. Qatar doesn't support us, BB doesn't support us, you do. And that's why we ask you for your support. And in exchange for that, you get a lot of cool offers of value, including our unlimited t-shirt store. As of course, our t-shirt store now only has one shirt available for it. And this is it. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, highlighting a Ron Paul saying, "If I told you so" was a person, I think he's a little bit more relative than ever. You have to become a member of LukeUnfiltered.com, then you could get the shirt. Otherwise, we only have one shirt available for 7 days. This shirt is available in the making of this video for the next 4 days. And we will replace it with another t-shirt available in 4 days. So if you want this shirt, get it now. It's a limited edition t-shirt that, again, is retired and is only going to be available for members. We're also in the Discord chat, 3 master classes. And listen, I think they're going to shut down free speech very soon. I think in a matter of months, right? Not years. Oh, totally gone. But I'll still keep LukeUnfiltered.com running because that's the way to keep us fully independent. That's the way to keep us operational, up and running, and still not reliant on big tech social media to survive. And your support now is needed more than ever. Now, I did find what Saigar and Jetty had to say as very important here, as he calls a lot of these type of conversations about Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner flying to Pakistan fake news.
I do want to be clear, there are efforts right now by the Pakistanis. So here's from Dropsite. Pakistan is emerging as the key back channel. They've positioned themselves as a central intermediary between Washington and Tehran. Various outlets confirming active efforts to facilitate the conflict. The Financial Times said that senior Pakistani officials have been relaying messages between Tehran and Witkoff, with the prime minister speaking several times with the president of Iran as well. Reuters had said that the vice president, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, would expect to meet them in Islamabad potentially this week. But again, there's been no confirmation. There are people who are out there posting jets that are on their way. Totally wrong. I actually confirmed it. It had nothing to do with that. It was a Pentagon official, Bridge Colby, who was on his way to India. He's not going to Pakistan. His pre-scheduled trip already had been announced. It has nothing to do with these potential negotiations. So that's where we stand as of right now. We are nowhere closer to any sort of a peace deal. And in fact,
which signals troops on the ground here, as the J-Post is reporting that BB's intelligence director says that regime change in Iran will take a full year. Now, a full year of supply chain disruptions, a full year of the Strait of Hormuz being closed here, signals big problem. So if we're going to continue on BB's plan here and have this operation until, I think, September, right? I think the worst case scenario, all of this goes on until September, which I think is disastrous. If we're going to be continuing this conflict till September, or for a year, just to have full, complete regime change, we're going to need to open up the Strait of Hormuz. Otherwise, this war can't continue with all the fertilizer disruptions, all the essential resource disruptions. MRIs are becoming that much more expensive because of the Strait of Hormuz being closed here. Farming season is being disrupted here. As a former CIA officer just confirmed that some of the most elite fighting American units are in position right now preparing for a massive ground operation. And if this is going to last for the full regime change, which Bibi wants, then they need to do this, right? And we told you that's a bad scenario. We laid out 3 scenarios last week. One, just pull out. Best case scenario. Second worst, second best, but very bad scenario. A horrible scenario. Sending troops on the go. Third scenario, nukes.
Similarly, and if you know, there's some very good open source intelligence sites that we've seen a flow of the special operations commands, kind of lead elements, Army's Delta Force, SEAL Team 6, the Task Force 160, that's U.S. Special Operations Aviation, 75th Ranger Regiment. They also have been going to the Middle East on C-17s, multiple flights over the last 48 hours. So we're seeing the deployment of what are ground forces. And so I think that's something that, one should take note of, in particular, because in the past, when Trump has done this, whether it's the Venezuela operation with Maduro or the initial kickoff in Iran, when he moves military assets, he actually uses them. And in particular, we also have to remember that the Marine Expeditionary Unit, the one coming from the Pacific, that will be on station by Friday. In the area too. So that's another contingent of Marines. So there are ground forces flowing to the region. I think that's really significant.
Yeah, extremely significant, as of course that would mean a major escalation to this war. How many people would lose their lives here as Gulf nations are telling the United Nations that they're facing an existential threat following the attacks on energy sites. Iran says that non-hostile vessels can transit the Strait of Hormuz, but of course they want them to be paying and using the yuan system instead of the dollar system. I had someone that I was watching yesterday being like, look, Trump's 4D chess, he's going to make Iran sell oil on the petrodollar. Iran was selling oil on the petrodollar, and then Trump stopped that during his first term, by the way. That's a fact, whether you like to understand that or not here. But with this major escalation, it would, of course, be a major escalation towards what many people believe to be severe loss of life here. Glenn Greenwald talks about how Air and Space Forces magazine is reporting that the Air Force's F-35A pilot, who suffered shrapnel wounds after the aircraft was damaged over Iran, says it's one of around 20 U.S. Air Force aircraft known to be damaged or destroyed in the nearly 3-week war with Iran. Now, Trump's saying they're all obliterated. We can do whatever we want. We don't know exactly what's going on here. In Ukraine, you're able to see like live updates, satellite updates, a lot of videos flowing in and out, seeing exactly what's happening. You don't see that here, right? And there has been a blockade. Specifically when it comes to the troops that are injured, the troops that are losing their lives here, the hardware that's being lost here. I pray it's very low, but we don't know if it's low. Some people are speculating that it's a lot higher. As right now, if we are preparing for an invasion, we have to understand here, recruitment numbers have been low, right? Re-enlistment numbers have been low, predominantly because during the Biden administration, people in the military were discriminated against and told you better be taking unproven procedure if you want to be in the military, or we're going to discharge you. And many people were discharged. Americans, by and large, are dealing with a major health crisis. We are fatter and more unhealthier than we were ever in American history. Life expectancy has been going down. Cancer rates have been going up. And a lot of people are saying, well, if we do prepare for an invasion, we need to still continue to be a strong nation, as our military isn't really that strong. A lot of people are saying also the military-industrial complex, just getting a free lunch with no bid contracts, doesn't really incentivize a lot of incentivizing or production of products and services and hardware that is actually good. There's a lot of corruption within the Pentagon, too. Lots of no-bid contracts, lots of people just spending way too much money on things that our competition and foreign countries spend in a lot faster, cheaper, quicker way. And we've seen that, especially with the Ukrainian conflict, especially when it comes to things like artillery, right? Now, the U.S. Army just announced that it's increasing the maximum enlistment age from 34 to 42. Now, this is big, right? They're starting this on April 20th. Now, the minimum age stays between 18, 17 with permission, which applies to the National Guard and Reserves, as they're also allowing people with a drug possession charge to join without extra approval. As now there's memes like this saying 40-year-olds during World War III. Yeah, I mean, that's... The clip goes on for another minute. Chris Farley falling down the cliff here, which is hilarious. We missed that guy. Other people are making memes like this. The 40-year-old cannon father. As, listen, the Pentagon openly comparing the planned invasion of Iran's Karg Island to Iwo Jima. Lindsey Graham is bringing up, hey, we did it in Iwo Jima. Iwo Jima, 26,000 U.S. troops lost their lives. All right. Could this be the reason, like, why we're seeing so much propaganda?
Thousands of U.S. Marine reinforcements are set to cross into CENTCOM's area of operations in the Indian Ocean as soon as Friday.
Friday would be the day if anything does happen, right? Because that's the way not to disrupt the markets.
One of two Marine expeditionary units arrive on board the USS Tripoli and its amphibious Ready Group. But of those 2,200 Marines, about 800 are infantry. The rest are support and logistics. For comparison, when the U.S. Marines stormed the beaches of Iwo Jima during World War II, it took 70,000 Marines and resulted in nearly 7,000 Americans killed and 20,000 wounded. Iwo Jima was 8 square miles. Karg Island, follow.
Having Lindsey Graham and Fox News with the same type of talking points here isn't good here. Now, Congresswoman Nancy Mace here, who has been outspoken, she's the one that just walked out and says, yeah, guys, I do not support troops on the ground. I think she's saying that because she was probably briefed that that is something that is a big possibility, if not already decided, if not already happening.
Troops on the ground.
So you're against troops on the ground.
So Nancy Mace says she's not going to vote to fund this war if boots are on the ground.
Troops on the ground.
So you're against troops on the ground.
I'll be voting against the funding if we're putting troops on the ground. I'm not going to fund that.
Okay.
Yeah, no U.S. troops.
Do you think that that the ongoing war makes us more vulnerable to an infrastructure attack? Are you concerned about that?
I'm just concerned about a lot of things. I mean, Hezbollah's here. I mean, the enemy isn't flying in on planes from Tehran. They're already here.
We had the border wide open during Biden's administration here. As NBC News is reporting that Trump is getting a daily 2-minute highlight reel of successful U.S. strikes in Iran. And again, it's like, how long can you just keep striking here? General Jim Mattis, and yeah, I don't hold this guy in high regards here, but he talked about some of the Iran strategy here, saying you can just keep hitting targets. It doesn't mean you're going to have regime change. It's going to be delusional. Regime change could probably take, logistically, according to all the war games, till September. Now, you're able to take the Strait of Hormuz during then. You're able to continue and sustain those operations. You can't take the Strait of Hormuz, then you're not able to, of course, continue that.
And I think that what we're seeing is a situation where targetry never makes up for a lack of strategy. And by that I mean 15,000 targets have been hit. There have been significant military successes, but they are not matched by strategic outcomes. Now, some of the strategic outcomes early on, unconditional surrender, regime change, we're going to dictate who the next supreme leader is. Those were clearly nonsense. Those were delusional.
unless you have boots on the ground, and then you're able to sustain the operation, keep the Strait of Hormuz open, which is what they're probably discussing and what Donald Trump is pinched on, and what probably will be happening here. Now, again, lots of weird stuff happening when it's coming to trying to keep oil down, when it's trying to keep the markets up throughout all of this. And now we're literally buying Iranian oil. Again, there's also some serious concerns about a nuclear reactor being hit here. I'm going to do another video about this, as there could be radioactive plumes that we have to deal with here in this specific region that, of course, would affect the Strait of Hormuz for a very long time. This whole thing's a disaster. This whole thing is just insane. Again, option one, just get out. Stop this war. Sending in troops is going to be ridiculous. I think it needs to be pushed back on respectfully, peacefully, through the commons. If you agree, share this video. Get it out there. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys signing up to LukeUnfiltered.com, getting the t-shirts. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on YouTube.com/WeAreChange.